What's up, guys? I just wanted to come on here and make kind of a casual chat with me video because I haven't done one of those in a long time, and also there's just been like a bunch of things I've been thinking about that I want to talk to you guys about, just check in, tell you how I'm doing postpartum. I'm just over 1 month postpartum, and just kind of catch up on how life has been since baby girl number 2 arrived, how I'm doing, all that kind of stuff. I first of all want to start by saying thank you guys so much for the amazing supportive response I got from my last debt update video. I posted it a couple days ago and I was very nervous to post it, and any video I'm very nervous to post usually does really well and goes really well and gets a very positive response, but just like feels very vulnerable to post. So thank you guys as always for being the most amazing subscriber base and just being so generally encouraging, enthusiastic, happy for us, just wonderful. It's interesting because a bunch of you guys commented on my debt payoff video that you hope I'm finding relief because I know that my student loans were the most like emotionally difficult of all our debt, and the fact that you guys picked up on that and remembered that, like, it just made me feel really seen because I've mentioned that a couple times, but I don't mention it that often. And the fact that like you guys remember things like that I've said and like commented it back to me just felt like very supportive. So anyway, so let's kind of chat. Okay, so I'm gonna basically be talking about mostly like baby stuff, some life stuff. I did ask you guys on Instagram if you had any questions that you wanted me to answer in this video, and I got so many questions, and I'm definitely not gonna be able to fit all of them in this video or it'll be way too long. So I'll answer some of those. If you're not following me on Instagram, I do like interact with you guys more frequently on there because it's easier to just pop on for a second versus like filming and editing a whole video. So I'll put my Instagram down here if you aren't following me and you want to follow me on Instagram. So yeah, just generally I'll talk about a couple things and then I'll get into your guys' questions. Overall, postpartum has been wonderful. I did film a birth story video. I just haven't edited it yet, so that will probably be going up next week. I wanted to film it like close in time to the birth, so I'd have everything fresh in my mind, but I just haven't had like the energy and emotional energy to like go revisit that. So overall, it was an amazing birth and recovery has been going very, very well. But it's also just newborn life is hard regardless of how well the birth goes. So, I mean, I guess unless you get a baby that like miraculously sleeps through the night pretty early on, but that's just not how my daughter is. So yeah. Okay, so let's see what else is going on. I did start drinking caffeine for a little bit to try to like help with the sleep deprivation, but about a week after I was drinking caffeine, I got this incredibly painful stomach ache. Like, I'm talking worse than labor. Like, it was so painful. I had my husband Googling like appendicitis, like, do I need to go to the ER right now? And yeah, it just all of a sudden, after I had drank one of the like it was iced tea even that I was having, like, but it was my second caffeine drink of the day, I just had the worst stomach pain, and then it lasted for a little while, like 20-30 minutes, and started getting better and then went away completely and hasn't come back since. So I dropped the caffeine again, so that hasn't been an option. Before this baby, I hadn't drank caffeine in years. Like, even when I have soda, I have like Sprite or root beer, which has no caffeine. So yeah, I'm just not a caffeine drinker. I drink herbal tea. So anyway, that happened. So can't rely on caffeine, which is fine. It's not like great for you anyway. It doesn't really agree with my body. I get like anxious and like a stomach ache from it sometimes, obviously, like just happened. But that was like the worst thing that's ever happened. That's never happened before from caffeine. I think it's from caffeine, maybe caffeine and stress, but overall I'm doing well. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm not dealing with postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety or anything like that. Just, I think, my normal anxiety that I always have. But yeah, I am exclusively breastfeeding, and so up until like the 1 month mark or so, a little bit before a month old, I was doing every single feeding overnight, and my daughter wakes up, well, currently she's doing a little bit longer stretches. She does 1 4-hour stretch at night, which is good, and then a 3, and then a 2, and then 2, 2, 2 usually. But yeah, I was doing it all myself, and then around like 3.5 weeks old, we started doing this thing where in the morning I pump at least 1 feeding's worth of milk, and then my husband takes the first feeding of the night and I sleep through it. So she'll go down at like 7:30 to 8:30 at night, and then first feeding she'll wake up anywhere from like 10:30 to midnight or so, and so my husband will take that feeding and then I'll take the next feeding. So I get to bed as early as possible. Like I'm in bed sometimes at like 7:30, sometimes even like 6:45. Like I shower at like 6 p.m., eat dinner at 5, shower at 6, get into bed, and like try to get to bed as early as possible. So yeah, that's been the schedule. My husband takes the first feeding, then I take all the rest of the feedings the rest of the night. So I usually get, like the past week or so, I've been getting a stretch of sleep from about, I don't know, like 9 to 9:30, depending on how quickly I can fall asleep. I've been having trouble falling asleep. That's a whole other thing I'll talk about. But yeah, going to bed at like 9 to 9:30, and then I'll get to sleep till like 1 to 2 a.m. And then I'll pretty much be up the rest of the night, because by the time I nurse her, get her down, and then get myself to fall back asleep, it's like usually like only like 15 to 30 minutes before she wakes up again, and we do the whole cycle again. So past like 1 or 2 a.m., I'm pretty much up until the morning, and then I've been trying to take a nap in the morning. My husband's really been encouraging me to. But I'm having so much trouble falling asleep. I think when I'm in the situation where I'm having to like repeatedly wake myself up, and like when you're so tired in the middle of the night for these night feedings and you have to like pull yourself out of sleep so like aggressively to stay up and like safely care for this baby in the middle of the night, your brain like develops something where it's like really hard to turn it off, to like go back to sleep, because you like so forcefully pull it on. And I just remember that happening with my first daughter, with breastfeeding with her. So yeah, I did take a nap this morning, which is great. I got like a 45-minute nap, and I'm really going to try to nap like as much as I can. My husband is very supportive and is happy to watch both the girls, and he gets a nap in every day. He falls asleep like that. Like I'm like, do you want to go nap? He's like, sure. He's asleep within like 45 seconds. Like, so sometimes I'll lay down literally with my eyes closed to try to take a nap for 20 minutes, like lights out, quiet, eyes closed, and I can't fall asleep. My brain won't turn off. So anyway, working on that. But it is good that he's helping with the night feeding, and we figured out a way for me to like pump in the morning and have him help at night and it not affect my supply. So yeah, and because I am over a month postpartum, that means I have successfully completed 1 month of breastfeeding, which is something I really am celebrating, because breastfeeding is hard, and like however you choose to feed your baby, I have no judgment, but breastfeeding is something that I really wanted to try to do. I did it with my first daughter, and it's not like a given, and it's not that easy, and like I could stop at any time, or I could go to pumping, or I could cut back and do a mixture of breastfeeding and formula at any point. And I'm trying to remind myself of that as I'm navigating like mental health challenges of just like the sleep deprivation and just anxiety of life, of everything that's going on now personally and in the world. Just, you know, there's options. I don't have to just breastfeed. Like I'm trying to remind myself that this, you know, every day I breastfeed is a win, but I don't have to keep going if it's too much, if like the cost benefit isn't outweighing like the, you know, benefits my baby would get from the breast milk and all that stuff, versus like me being able to show up as a mom for my kids in like a healthy, stable, emotionally well way. If the breastfeeding is taken away from that too much, then I could always stop. But I feel like it's a good balance right now. I feel like if I can just get a little more sleep, it will be sustainable long term. And I know babies sleep more over time, obviously, so it's just a matter of like, when is it going to happen? So yeah, so that's what's going on with breastfeeding. I'm really happy that I survived month 1, and we'll just see how it goes from there. With my daughter, I breastfed for about 6 months, and then my supply just totally basically stopped, because I went back to work at 12 weeks, and I pumped at work and nursed her when I was home, but I just wasn't around her enough to keep my supply up. I think my body wouldn't do it. So I would be pumping at work for like, you know, every 2 hours for like 30 minutes, and it just was just like slowly going away. So we'll see what happens this time, since I'm not going back to the office, which is so nice knowing that like, I don't have to be like ripped away from my baby when she's 12 weeks old for like 10, 11 hours a day, 5 days a week. And yeah, it's just such a different thing this time around, now that I work for myself from home versus like working for an employer at the office. So that's really nice to know that. What else? So, oh, the other reason why this has been really great is because my daughter, my first daughter, we didn't give her a bottle soon enough, and she ended up having an issue with bottle refusal, so she wouldn't take a bottle. So, like, when I went back to work, she had to drink milk from like a syringe for like almost a month before she took a bottle. And so this time around, we're like, nah, that's not gonna happen. So right away, we gave her a bottle. Like, after I think she was like 2 weeks old, 2.5 weeks old, we started giving her a bottle every single day. I'd pump at least once a day, so she got a bottle of milk, breast milk. And then we knew hopefully that she would be used to it over time and not refuse it, which I know you can give them bottles and then all of a sudden they refuse it even if they've been used to it, but I think it's less likely if we start her really early. So currently she's totally fine taking both. Like, she hasn't interfered with her nursing, but she'll also take the bottle, which is really such a relief, because with my first daughter, I couldn't like leave the house for more than a couple hours, and even if I did, sometimes she would go hungry, because you know, sometimes they get in a mood to snack every hour, and then you leave and all of a sudden they're hungry, and my poor husband would be stuck with a crying baby that he couldn't feed because she wouldn't take a bottle. So knowing that I have the option to like leave to go to the doctor or leave to go to the store or whatever, and know that my husband can feed her while I'm gone regardless of whether I'm there or not, is a huge weight off my shoulders. So I'm really glad that the bottle is going well. The bottles that we used are the Ma'am brand. That's the one my daughter eventually took, and so I got the same ones for this daughter. I don't know if it's like the nipple is more closely shaped to my nipple and that's why she eventually took it, or I don't know why that brand worked, but it's just in case you guys are dealing with that same issue. That's the brand that we ended up being successful with. So that's the situation with the bottle. Let's see, what else? My face was like breaking out really bad. Like, I had a pimple. It's like, you can still see it. It's still healing, but I had a pimple. It was so bad. It actually woke me up, like the pain of that pimple. And now it's healing and my skin is pretty much clearing up for now. So I don't know what my skin's going to be like. I have dealt with acne since I was a teenager. I went on birth control for acne originally when I was a teenager, and then had all sorts of issues with it since coming off of birth control. And so I know there's something underlying that's going on that I really want to figure out at some point, and I'll definitely like make videos all about that process at the point that I start figuring that out. I want to get like, I don't know, I think it's called functional hormone testing or functional something testing, to like see what's going on with hormones in your body, to see if there's like an imbalance there that's causing the acne, and or like a food allergy or something, but there's something going on. So yeah, hopefully my skin will like settle down and be like not so, it's, you know, it's twofold, my problem with the acne. One is it's uncomfortable, but the other is it is embarrassing. Like, I am gonna be like 40 in 5 years and I'm still having breakouts like I'm a teenager. Like, it's just, I'd love to be able to like go somewhere and not feel like I need to put makeup on, or make a video and feel like I don't need to put makeup on. And then once you put foundation on, it makes your face look all one color, so then you need to put blush on so you don't look like a corpse, and then you got makeup on already, so then you put on some mascara, and just like it just, I don't know, just like snowballs. But if you can just go like bare face and just do like a little concealer and mascara, like I would love to be able to do that on a daily basis, and it's just let my skin breathe more. And I have been going like no makeup a lot lately, and I've just been breaking out a ton, so I don't think the makeup I use has anything to do with it. It's the same makeup I've been using for a long time. So anyway, this is a very rambly video, but at the same time I'm like going through all the bullet points of stuff that I've been thinking about, like, oh, I really want to talk to like you guys about this, and so I just wrote a bunch of stuff down. Okay, birth control. So this kind of is going to tie into a question of if we're having more kids, but well, I guess I could just go to the Instagram questions, because that's part of an answer to the Instagram questions. So let me pull those up. So how was the question worded? Are you going to have more kids? And then also somebody said, do you still feel done having kids? So I've said like baby number 2 was our last baby. We're just having 2 kids, and we have 2 girls. So, you know, some people say like, oh, are you going to try for a boy, or do you feel done, or whatever. And I've said we're not going to have any more. But when we came home from the hospital, I like broke down being like, I'm not done. I don't want to close this chapter. I'm not ready. And now that I'm like a month postpartum, I'm feeling more like this is like I'm comfortable being done having kids. I think like if I were younger, I would be more like undecided, but I'm 35 and I don't think I'll be ready to get pregnant again for at least a year if I were to get pregnant again. And at that point, I'll be 36, having a baby at 37. And that's kind of getting to the point where I think my anxiety of worrying about the health of the baby and my health, having a baby that late in life, which really isn't that late, but just me having dealt with infertility and just being a very anxious person as it is, I just know myself, and I don't think it would be good for my mental health or my family to go through that. So I think my desire to have a third kid does not outweigh the risk and the concern I have about going through another pregnancy. Plus, just having two kids and two parents, it feels like a good ratio, and like I don't know that I want to handle more. It's already hard enough to split my time between two, let alone three, and I just don't know if that's something that I want at this point and if I'll ever want. So I think the other thing is too is we would only try for a third if we'd be really, really happy having three girls, because, you know, there's no guarantee with gender. So if we were like trying for a boy or whatever, then like could have a boy or could have a girl. So unless I'm like going to be really happy with three girls, then I wouldn't want to try for another one. So the jury is still out like a little bit. I think I'm like 95% decided that we're done having kids, but I'm not fully decided. Like I'm not getting rid of any of my maternity stuff or any of my baby stuff yet. So when it comes to birth control, it kind of leaves us in a tricky situation because, like I just said, I have so many issues with like acne, and just I was on hormonal birth control for a long time, and I've been reading stuff saying that that could potentially be linked to other things like PCOS and thyroid issues and stuff, and I'm just like, this is like anecdotally, I don't know that any of this has been scientifically proven, but I've just like seen stuff on social media, other people talking about this. So I'm very hesitant to go back on hormonal birth control because I don't want to put my body through that regardless of whether we're having kids, but especially if I'm not fully decided. I don't want to be in a situation where I was like in 2018 where I couldn't get my period back after coming off birth control if we do decide we want to have another kid. So yeah, I don't know that birth control, like hormonal birth control, is a good option. I really don't want to get an IUD because I just don't. And then like, I don't know if my husband should get a vasectomy yet because we're not decided. And I've heard also it's like really hard to get a vasectomy appointment right now because of Roe being overturned. Like a lot of men are running to get vasectomies. So yeah, I don't know. And again, that's like anecdotal. So I don't know if that's true. We haven't like reached out to a doctor, and my husband and I honestly haven't even like fully had a long discussion about all this. So we've just been like in survival newborn mode. So, yeah, it's just kind of tricky to be like, what do we do? I mean, we didn't get pregnant for 2 years when we were like waiting in between kids when I was waiting to be ready to try again. And I tracked my cycle kind of and just like timed it, and we didn't end up getting pregnant. So, but I don't want to just rely on that if like I'm really not ready to get pregnant again. So anyway, I'm going to talk to my midwife about it when I go to my 6-week postpartum appointment and see what she thinks, but I'm kind of undecided on birth control at this point. Also, last time with my daughter with breastfeeding, I didn't get a period for about 8 months. So I was like 8 months postpartum. So again, don't want to rely on that, but that could be the situation that I won't be able to get pregnant while breastfeeding anyway. So yeah, just kind of all stuff that's like swirling in the back of my mind on top of everything else. Okay, so let's get to some of your questions. This is already a long video. Okay, well, we'll just do as many as we can. A lot of questions about my oldest daughter, my toddler. She's 3 and 3 months. So how is she adjusting? Like, how does she like being a big sister? That type of stuff. And she's adjusting like so well, like better than we could have hoped for. So yeah, she's doing really well. Loves her little sister. Every time she comes around, baby girl like smiles and stuff. They're obsessed with each other, and it's so cute to watch. And She acted out a little bit, like the first couple days, a little bit more like meltdowns and needy, and then now she's thriving and doing great and loves having her around, is always asking where she is and that type of stuff. Okay. How would you feel, or what would you say if your daughters wanted to go into the law? I would be supportive. I would just encourage them to do an internship first to make sure it's something they really want, and like really think about like what area of law they want to practice, like get very specific with it as to why they want to go. And also I would encourage them to try to minimize their student loans if it was something that we couldn't pay for. I don't know financially if we'll be in a position to pay for college in full and graduate school in full, if that's something they decided to do. So I hope that's something we could do for them, but yeah, it's, I would be fine with it. I think that, you know, if it's something they on their own come up with and want to do and no one's pressuring them, then that's wonderful if that's something they're passionate about. What are your top 5-ish financial goals / values now that debt payoff is in sight? Okay. So this is a great question. I mean, besides debt payoff, I think is still the number one goal, so we won't count that. I would say getting ramped up on saving for retirement, increasing our emergency fund, moving to a better school district, which is a financial decision because it's going to be more expensive in a better school district. We live in an area where the schools are not good at all, and I wouldn't want to send my daughter to school here. And so to get to a better school district, we have to go to a more expensive neighborhood. So that's number 3. What would 2 other goals be? I would say budget for regular vacations going forward, because we really haven't taken a vacation in a long time, a very long time. We took a 1-night vacation since our debt-free journey started in January of 2020. So budget for more regular vacations. And what would number 5 be? Let me think. I think increase our income to just give us more options to speed up our, you know, all of our financial goals. Yeah, just increase our income would be my 5th goal. Okay, lots of questions about 529s because I opened a 529 for my newborn. Where do we open it? How much to save? How often do you contribute? So we opened ours for both our girls with Fidelity because we already had accounts there. I need to look up 529s. I'm sure there's articles about them. I'll link one below in the description if I can find a good one. But just off the top of my head, 529s are college savings accounts. They have some tax benefits. The money can only be used for college. You can change the beneficiary around. So if you have multiple kids that you open 529s for and one doesn't go to school, you can change the beneficiary to one of your other kids. And each state has one, I believe, but you don't have to live in the state to open that one. And they're all like slightly different with slightly different investment options and stuff like that. So this is off the top of my head, so don't quote me on all this. But like I said, I'll try to link an article in the video description on them. But yeah, so we opened ours with Fidelity and chose the index fund investment option, so it's passively managed and low fee. And how much do we contribute? I mean, I think for me, the philosophy with 529s is take care of yourself first, then take care of others, like your kids. So we're prioritizing our own retirement savings, and once that gets back on track, we will increase the amount we're putting from our own budget into our kids' college savings. But until then, we're not putting anything out of our own budget. Just any money that is gifted to us for our kids, we are putting into the 529. So anytime anybody gives any sort of cash at all, we put it right into the 529, and that's how much is going in there. So we did get some money from various friends and family when my daughter was born, and so I just opened an account and like threw it all in there. And so it has, 18 years to grow. Have you been able to find any time for yourself with baby? Reading, self-care, etc. Small amounts. Like, I shower every day. I have to. Like, I'm not the person who just like totally neglects my self-care or doesn't find time for it. Like, I will have an anxiety attack if I don't shower every day. And but like, I'll go outside and sit on the back deck for like 10 minutes and listen to a podcast, and like I'll take like little bits of time here and there, but not long stretches of time, because longer stretches I'm either trying to sleep, taking care of something for the house, or like just newly starting to film videos and stuff. So yeah, I've found some time, but it's like little bits here and there. But I think that's just how it is when you have a newborn. You just take small chunks of time, and then it eventually gets more of your time back. I'm looking forward to incorporating more exercise in once I get the clearance from my midwife at my 6-week postpartum appointment, because I think that'll be really good for my physical health, obviously, in recovery, and my mental health. Does the baby weight usually fall off quick? This is something that I don't really feel great talking about because everybody's bodies are different, and I am genetically predisposed to being thinner and having an easier time losing weight. And I do eat really healthy and like generally would exercise regularly, but there's plenty of people who do that and have a much harder time with weight loss than I do. And so I don't really like talking about my weight too much because I just feel like there's some like genetic factors that contribute to my weight that aren't realistic for others, and I don't want anyone else to feel uncomfortable of their own weight situation. But for me, I'll just like give you the numbers. So with my first pregnancy, I gained I think 28 pounds, and the first like 18 to 20 pounds came off really quickly within like the first couple months, and then it took me like the better part of a year to get down to my pre-pregnancy weight. And I don't think I ever really got there. I think I started at 125 and the lowest I ever got was 128 after my first daughter. And so 128 was my starting weight for this pregnancy. I gained 32 pounds, so I got up to 160, and right now I'm at 140, and I'm like almost 5 weeks postpartum, and I have just been eating when I'm hungry, haven't really exercised, and have been breastfeeding. So for me, a good chunk of the weight came off very quickly. And then I assume kind of like my last pregnancy, the last like 5 to 10 pounds will take a lot longer to come off. And honestly, like I feel more comfortable at this weight. I'm 5'6" and 140 right now. I feel like 140 is a healthier weight than like 120, 125, like where I was like when I was like in my late 20s. So yeah, I don't know that I'm going to try to lose more weight. I think I'm just going to try to be focused on being healthy. And your body changes after pregnancy, and like just your different sizes and different shapes, different places. And so sometimes you have to get new clothes and just grow into a new body that's done something really wonderful, which is grow a child. So yeah, so that's like my personal experience. But you know, everyone's different. What did you name your baby? Okay, so I know I've told you guys my first daughter's name on here a lot. I've said her name, it's in our budget and stuff like that. And I posted on Instagram our second daughter's name, and then I just had a moment where I was just like, I don't know that I want to say my kids' names on the internet anymore. Like, I hope to grow this channel to be much larger than it is today, and just like my mama heart was feeling like I didn't want to say it. So if you saw it on Instagram, then you got lucky. I hope you keep it to yourself. I'd appreciate it if you keep it to yourself. It is another A name, I'll tell you that. So both my daughters' names start with A. But I'm not going to be sharing it on here. I'm really sorry, and it's just something I feel is important for me for safety of my kids, and that may change in the future, but for now that's how I feel. So I'm going to stop saying both their names on my channel. You know, I've never said the second one, but I'll stop saying my first daughter's name on my channel and social media and stuff. And yeah, that's what I decided, and I hope you guys understand. How is your husband helping with a new baby? He's doing literally everything he can to help. He's wonderful, and he deserves so much credit. He's been so patient and supportive for me when I've been having like just hormonal emotional meltdowns, sleep deprivation. He changes diapers, he helps with baths, he helps with nighttime feeding, he encourages me to go nap, and it's like, hey, I'll watch the girls. Hey, you know, you want to sleep in, I'll take them for an hour, keep sleeping another hour, you know, just like everything. So he's on paternity leave for 2 months, and then he goes back to work full time, but he does work from home, so he's just one room away. So it will be nice to have him still be like kind of around. But yeah, if your husband's not helping with the baby, like go kick their butt. They need to be helping. Will you ever be an attorney again, like private practice? Not if I can help it. If something happened and my husband couldn't work and we needed a bigger paycheck quickly, I'd do it. Short of that, no. How do you deal with the haters? Sometimes I don't deal with them because it literally doesn't bother me, so I just don't need to do anything. And then sometimes I just show my husband the comments and he like talks me off the ledge if I'm feeling like insecure, and he's like, you shouldn't feel insecure about that thing you said in that video. That person is being like unreasonable in what they said, or they're just being antagonistic or whatever, and he helps like keep me centered. And then a lot of times actually you guys help me, because somebody will comment something and they'll have like taken something I said wrong or out of context, or just not like something I said, and then one of you guys will comment back and be like, that's not what she meant, or you know, you obviously don't follow her much because you don't understand this and this and that, or just like saying like, that's a rude comment, and like I don't even need to say anything. So, and then sometimes I block them. So that's how I deal with haters. What general areas are you considering moving post home sale? And somebody else asked, do you still plan on selling and renting, or has this changed? I think probably because of my student loan being paid off now. They're asking that question. That is something I'm going to be answering in the future. I will tell you guys all about it, but it's just something that we are working on actively, so I'm not going to share until I have like something specific to share. But yeah, so I will be telling you, but just not yet. So I think I'm going to cut it off there because this video is already getting very, very long. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I just wanted to come in here and check in. Coming up, I've got my August budget with me. So you'll see our new budget with my student loan not in the budget anymore. I've got my July budget recap, which I never shared my July budget because it didn't have my student loan payment. And like I said in my last video, I wanted to like explain that whole situation before I posted any financial content so you guys would have the context. So I never posted the July budget with me, but I will post the recap so you can see what our July budget ended up being the month that baby was born. I'm actually really proud of us because we stayed on budget for groceries, which like I did not think we were going to be able to do, but we did. So that's amazing. And what else? Also my birth story. I filmed that, got to edit that. So I've got a lot of good stuff coming out. I hope to be posting 1 to 2 videos a week from here on out. And if I need to take a week off or time off or whatever, then I will. But yeah, hopefully it'll just go smoothly. I'm realizing now that I have a stain on my shirt that is probably baby spit up, but that's just where we're at right now. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, give a big thumbs up, and it really helps out my channel if you do that. If you want to see more videos from me, hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.